I think I'm just very fortunate right now that my hobbies, I guess our hobbies have all turned into like a thing that people want to facilitate me doing more. So, like I was tattooing full time and miss that quite a lot. Get to do it here and there, but not as much as I'd like. And the tattooing thing kind of led to painting, and the painting thing is kind of like what I guess where all of my work comes from, which seems crazy to me. But like, yeah, so it's like painting and dribs and drabs of tattooing when I get the chance. And, I got some bands that I play in that are, about to put out records and start doing that more again. And then, music facilitated me learning photography, like going away on tour and being in all these places I'd be for like a night. So like, my dad gave me a camera and I learned to take photographs, and then being on the road all the time, you learn how to like shoot bands that are playing. And so I guess I get to go and do that with bands now too. Like I get to go away with other bands and like take some photographs, and I guess there's like multiple things that I get to do, and they all, at some point, something pays the bills for me to have a roof over my head and keep practicing all the things that I enjoy doing.
Yeah. Is there a mode switch between them for you, or do you have a similar, I guess, like creative approach when you're working across?
I think I like hyper fixate on things. So it'll be like, right now I've got this thing, so it's just all in. Yeah, I think I fixate on things, and I'm like, all right, this is the thing. But I think they all like lend to each other, right? Like, like I'm out and about taking photographs of references that I then would like put into paintings and drawings. And it was the same with tattooing. Like I would see something and photograph it. So they're all talking to each other. And the music thing, like, it's imagery from like record, like album covers and the zines that are made within like our scene and all that kind of stuff. Everything just kind of leads back to each other. And I guess I talk to Ed and Nino quite a lot about that. Like, they manage me, and they manage me for painting, but they also help with everything else.
Yeah, is that like an interesting sort of negotiation internally of like going, oh, well, I'm doing painting now, and yes, I'm being managed for that, but then, I'm going to go do music. Yeah,
that's music. Like the band thing is the only thing that Nina doesn't really like chip into, but she's also good with like, like, here's your calendar, here's your time management, because I guess like,
it's a hard thing to manage the calendar.
Like, I guess I get so fixated on something that I'm like, like I love a deadline, but also like sometimes I'm not aware of the deadline until so she definitely helps me with a million things. But I think when was it? It would have been not too long ago. Like someone was writing a piece on something I'd done, and they were interviewing Ed and Nina, and I came into the gallery and they were like talking about me, which is also weird to hear someone talking about your practice and whatever. But they brought up that like, how do you find managing this person who has all of these other things that are like still his art, but it's like, you're selling his paintings and you're pushing out this visual practice. And they were like, no, everything like ties together, and like it's also really good for him. Yeah. So it's nice to be understood that I can't be taken away from those things too. Like, because, like sometimes, you hyper fixate on something and you're like, you're making. You can't keep doing that forever and feel like it's going to evolve. Like, definitely got to practice, and there's that continuation of like always trying to evolve and be in the studio and just like you got to sink time into things, but also like there's other things that will feed into that, and sometimes moving away you see, come in with a clear idea and you can see things with fresh eyes, and it helps. So
are there times when you are fixating and working on one medium where you're going, I want to drop that and do something else for a bit?
I mean, like,
do you get frustrated at?
I wouldn't say frustration. I think there's like a thing of like you're making work, right? And these days there feels like such a pressure on like the output and monetizing an output.
Yeah.
And I'm like, end of the day, it's still like, I'll go work in a factory if I get to just still like paint, get to play music. Like it's just meant to be good for my brain. Period. That's it. There's nothing else. And the amount of things that like painting especially has done for me, like introducing me to people, and like, you know, it's kind of like I get to travel off of painting, and it's purely from relationships that I've made from having paintings on a wall in a gallery, or like, you know, showing in spaces and then getting invited to other ones and meeting more people. And then I was like, it's such a magic thing, and I don't think that there should be frustration around it, because it's still meant to be like, sometimes I'm like, oh, it didn't turn out how I thought it would.
Yeah.
But you just roll it up and put it in the corner and you do another one, or you just like, I just need a break from it for a second. But it's
is it as soon as it becomes a job, a 9 to 5, that's when it's not a good thing?
I think if you approach it like that.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, there's like people who make work that I absolutely love, and I'm, you know, mesmerized by their output. But you can tell when they've done that, like those few paintings that are like, they're just for the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, this will sell, and like, this is no heart in it.
Yeah.
And it just makes that, I mean, it makes me a little bit sad, because I know what people are capable of, or like, I know what it does to me when I'm painting, like how I feel, or like, you know, when you get in the zones of making and you're like, it's so good for us. And then just to be so concerned about monetizing it, kind of, that's when it would suck.
100%. Do you get in a flow state with painting?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I think it's just that thing of repetition. Like, you got to practice, you practice. And then that's the things that take me away from it. Like, I did paint yesterday. I was like, I haven't really painted this week, but I think sometimes too I forget all the little things that I do that are
part of it.
Still part of it. But yeah, when you like, you know, when I've done my taxes and all of those things, and I've done all my bookkeeping and everything, and I'm like, this is all I have to do right now. Yeah, like, you know, a couple of weeks can disappear, and it's just like I'm just walking up to the studio and stop for lunch, and then walk back to the studio and come home, go to bed, and just keep doing it. It's good. It's good. It's really good.
And when you find that space and like find that, I guess, frame of mind where you are able to be studio, lunch, studio, bed, do you lose time? Are you, but are you also like, do you tire, or are you like, no, I need to sleep now because otherwise?
I mean, there's definitely times where I've just fallen asleep at the studio.
Yeah.
Like, that'll be around more like show deadlines and stuff, which is like, it's not stressful, and it's not a thing that I'm like freaking out about.
Yeah.
I think that's when I hit that point where I'm just like, this is everything I'm doing.
This is your life.
This is all it is.
Yeah.
Bad for friendships and relationships. Great for artistic output.
Sure. Tell me about your studio. Really
lucky to have a studio space at the moment that it's really Kai Man Jin has kind of facilitated for us. He owns like Paramount Hotel and a bunch of things in Surrey Hills.
Cool. He's
got a building. Anytime he kind of has a building he's about to develop, he kind of palms it off to some artists, and he,
for like a temporary period of time
until it'd be like, you can have this for a few years.
Cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's a really big supporter of the arts. And a lot of like harbouring culture for like Darlinghurst, Surrey. Probably doesn't want anyone to know that because he's very kind and shies away from like any of those things. But
yeah, it's sort of one of those unspoken things he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would never tell a soul.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's given me a space for like the last like 2 or 3 years, which is great. It's hidden away, so you don't see anyone there.
Yeah.
Which is like blessing and a curse, right? Like, but I think when I want to, sometimes I want to make in an environment that's pretty similar to tattooing, I guess. Like where, you know, it's people dropping in and everything in the shop. Like you got people to bounce things off. So usually if I'm making smaller works or something that's way too big for my studio, I make it at China Heights and I'll use the back studio there.
Mm-hmm. Talk me through the like setup. How do you lay out the studio? How do you prepare the space?
My studio?
Yeah. How do you prepare the space to be in painting mode?
Painting mode.
Yeah.
I've definitely just bought a bunch of pegboards, and I've got to. I'm trying to be organized, but I mean, it's the same thing I always say to people. I'm like, you can't trust someone who has like a really tidy studio because they're not using it. It's just like a facade. So it's a bit of a mess. But yeah, I usually just like, you know, I make sure I've got everything I need for like the next few days, and it's all very easily accessible. So paints are usually stacked on the floor, like where I'm working, because I work primarily painting on the floor.
And you don't pack up between days?
No, just clean brushes and that's it.
Yeah.
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 Or forget to and then have to throw them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
And how is that different from like preparing a space for tattooing or music or photography?
Yeah, all I mean, photography, I'm pretty messy, but like tattooing is obviously like hygienic as hell. I feel like I did adopt a lot of good practices in terms of like setup and hygiene and all those kind of things from tattooing. But I've probably strayed away from with painting because it just like no one else has to come into that space. But yeah, I mean, tattooing's so regimented. I have to do everything the same way, and I think also for my brain, like I have to set everything up the same.
Yeah, right.
Just so you're not thinking not through the tattoo, like which one am I dipping and stuff. It's like, everything is very structured.
And is that something that is like instilled in you as part of the like tattooing traineeship, apprenticeship sort of thing within studios? Yeah, I think when I was around shops, like, you know, like mid-early 2000s, you had to go to a Queensland health course, learn all about these things. I think there was like 2 states doing that at that time. Sorry. It was like Queensland, New South Wales. Everywhere else kind of free-for-all, and you could tell, like I would visit other shops and I'd be like, man, you're like touching stuff with dirty hands. Yeah,
like,
right, yeah.
So I feel really lucky that I like learnt all of those bits and pieces like early on, and then kind of like it was ingrained. Yeah.
What about the like preparing a space for music making?
I mean, just drag all the gear you think's going to be good and put it down and see how you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like every record's a bit different too. Like, you know, I've recorded bands where we all play live together in a room, and then there's ones where you're just single tracking and just trying all your gear and getting the perfect tone. And I think that those spaces are just annoying because everything weighs a ton and takes up a heap of room.
Yeah. And are you writing before you get in the room, or are you coming all into the room together and going, time. This is,
I wish it was, we've done improv stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just for just the cost of recording and
yeah, and I think it's just, you make changes and tweaks while you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you would know.
Yeah.
As you're like chipping away, you're like, things change and you're like, actually that wasn't that good when you hear it back.
What's your first memory of creative output or creative work?
I was talking the other day, and it was I had to do a talk for Vivid, which was terrifying because I barely finished year 12, but and I was just trying to think about all these kind of memories and the things that I was thinking about. Like, you know, I didn't have people at home who were making paintings. No one was really like into music, making music. There's, you know, there's not many photographs of our family. We weren't doing all that stuff. And I was like, I didn't grow up in a very artistic family.
Where did you grow up?
On the Gold Coast. Mum was born in Toowoomba. Pop's from down like Lionsville area. So he moved up, met my nan, had my mum, and the day she was born, they all moved to the Gold Coast, and that was where our family has stayed. But yeah, I was like thinking about all of my family and like what they were doing, and then I thought about more, and I was like, you know, like Mum was always scribbling on a notepad when she was on the phone, and I still remember all the things she was drawing.
I smile because my mum did the same.
Yeah. And I was like, that was a form of expression. That was like a creative output. And then I think about like my whole family, like, you know, they all went to the drags and they were all cruising in cars and building cars to race. And I was thinking more about that, and I was like, they were all forms of an art. Like they were all, you know, like stripping their cars and painting them and coming up with ways to do it. And I was like, and then, you know, they were finding community from doing those things, and that was a creative output for sure.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a concreter, but I still remember his back shed had like the flag in different concrete colours, like in the middle of the floor, and he would, you know, make things around the house and make them look nice and, you know, give them flourishes and stuff. And I was like, so maybe all these things somehow influenced me to be a creative person. I found them in different ways that maybe they did.
Was there, when you're like at that age, outside of family, what were your like inspirations or things you were looking at that drew you to creative practice?
I think that none of that landed until like teenage years.
Yeah.
And that was just like, yeah, finding like punk and hardcore and finding this music thing.
How'd you find that?
I think through surfing, through bodyboarding.
Mm-hmm.
All those soundtracks were all like primarily those kind of, you know, styles of music. There was lots of like hardcore and straight edge hardcore and all this kind of stuff on these soundtracks. So I'm just like, oh, I really like this. And then I meet a few older guys surfing, and they're like, there's this Shaun one, and, you know, there's those bands that we have shows here that are like that music on the videos. And I was already into like, you know, alternative and heavier music. But then I went to those shows and I met those people who were playing in those bands. They were standing off the stage and, you know, watching, and then they would get on stage and play. And I was like, oh, it's the same people. There's someone taking photographs, and then, you know, you go to more shows and meet more people, and then I feel like hardcore always goes like this.
Yeah.
Like most music and subcultures, you know, its popularity rises, declines, rises. You know, it gets really busy, and then I see like everyone like, yeah, making zines and doing bake sales and printing merch and
sales?
Yeah, there was always like people making like cakes and cupcakes and using the money for
the
charity.
hardcore scene?
Yeah, like there was like,
Cool.
it was really tied into like it was like a charity, like a, you know, donate X amount, you get to take this cookie, all that money goes to like some sort of like animal lib or...
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of learn all these kind of structures, but I also just see everyone just making stuff.
Yeah.
And everyone like using their skill set. And you didn't have to be, you know, this special individual. You were just like part of it.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, I just do this thing. It's not like a big deal.
Yeah. At that time, what was your skill set? Or what was the skill set you were looking at?
I don't think I was like, I'm not good at drawing or any art stuff. So I definitely shied away from that. But I was kind of like bullied in a way into doing a band.
Positive bullying?
Positive bullying. Like, you need to come and do this. And I was like, I don't want to, like, why would I do that?
How old were you at the time?
Like 15. Yeah. I was like, I don't even like, you know, I'm not talking at school.
And you'd been surfing.
And like, even that's got like weird hierarchy and stuff, and people are like really positive or really negative. And so I was just kind of like always super wary of, like, I wasn't a very outwardly, I wasn't like very outgoing, I guess. And then I met all these people, and they just kept trying to like push me to like come to their band practice. And then I came, and they were like, we wrote all these songs and you're going to sing on it. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't stand in front of people. They're like, you can, and you will, because we wrote all these songs. And that was the start, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you take those songs that were written and figure out how you were going to sing or shout or say them?
Yeah, because I was like, at that time, I'm like, what am I going to, like, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
And they're just like, you know, just any of your frustrations or like whatever. Like, this is the vehicle.
So they'd written music, like
Yeah.
band parts,
Yeah.
and hadn't come up with lyrics
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of just like, they're a little bit older, so they just kind of like helped me structure things and just gave it a go. And that was basically it. Not good at all.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
the first shows and stuff.
Yeah.
It was okay, but I mean, also I think we were like, the older guys kind of approached everything with like a little bit of lightheartedness because everything seemed so serious at that time. So there's probably like a lot of tongue-in-cheek songs and like just like it was just whatever.
Yeah.
But it was a good thing to get me to feel comfortable like standing in front of people for one, but also just be like, oh, I have like a voice or like I have a way to have a creative output.
You can say something.
You can say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were, I guess, like the big bands at the time that you were drawing from?
We did a cover of a band called Carry On,
Okay.
which, you know, later on in life I got to meet all of those people.
Okay.
I'm going to go and see them play in August.
Cool.
And they're doing their first shows in like 25 years.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of like Carry On and like, I think lots of like that LA hardcore scene had a bunch of stuff we were kind of like looking at. And then the other guys just like love Kiss and stuff.
Okay.
So it's just like a weird mash.
Yeah.
And then I think from there I got into like, you know, like Power Violence and all that kind of stuff. And the next bands kind of all changed directions.
Yeah.
But that's what, you know, when you really dive into those subcultures and niches and you start finding all these little things and piecing together how it works for you.
Yeah. Was there a like crossover with the community of surfing and the hardcore scene that then took you into the tattooing space? Or like,
I think everyone was just so tattooed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like everyone was just, and it seemed so magic to me. I just couldn't believe that.
In what way?
It's just like, it's just magic. I just see it. I'm like, this is an incredible thing.
Yeah.
But at that time too, I'm like, I can't draw. No way in hell would I ever consider doing this. And I mean, it was a long time of just like working in shops and hanging out and learning everything else about it.
Was it something you wanted? Was there like a yearning for it, or was
No.
like, yeah?
Because I was just always so terrified of trying, which is weird because I'm like, I started trying this music thing, but I was like, drawing just made no sense to me. And it was a long time later that, you know, like I worked at all these shops and I was learning the counter, and that was the best, just being in a shop, you know, chatting with everyone, helping them pick out the right things. I learned what made a good tattoo, what didn't, so I could like help direct people, and I would get them to a point where,
like helping people choose what their tattoo would be?
I'd get them to that point where
Tell me about that process.
put them with a tattooer. Like you just learn what's like, what ages, especially in Queensland.
Yeah.
You learn what ages well, what's, you know, what's going to be right and the right kind of size and like where to place it. And
is it the sun in Queensland?
Yeah, because everyone's outside with no sunscreen.
Yeah.
They want these, sometimes they want, you know, lots of detail and black and grey portrait, and you're like, oh, that's going to get fried off in a few years.
Yeah.
And you're like, as I'm getting tattooed more myself too, I'm like, I can see how things age over time, and my friends all got tattoos, and you know, I'm like, we all make a lot of mistakes we're all figuring it out. Our friends are learning, so we're all getting these horrible tattoos from from our friends. And
yeah. Well, how did you make the jump from not tattooing to
tattooing? I was working for a guy called Rick Nash in the Valley, and a few of my other friends were at that shop. I basically came back I was like touring with some bands overseas, came back, ran into someone the day I got back, and they're like, we need a shop manager. And I was like, great, I'll do it. So I was getting like $200 a week to look after this shop. Cost me $100 on the train to get there. So I had like $100 a week, just having the best time. But I was like, I just love tattooing so much. I was like, I can do this for a while. Like I can get by with $100 a week apparently. And there was a point where Rick was like, you know, Rick was pretty old school. He had this shop with his brother in the Valley, and he was tattooing at like 15. So he'd been around a long time.
Yeah.
and just like, really great tattoo. He had a stroke and he got a bit sick and he stopped tattooing. And I'm running his shop and he come in one day and he's just like, "You got a tattoo?" And I was like, "I can't draw." And he's like, "Oh, fucking learn the tattoo. Like, learn to draw. Like, take a walk, get the fuck out."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, who's going to help?" And he's like, "You'll work it out. Like, just get on with it." So I tried.
And with paper and pencil?
Not great.
No?
I was just like tracing some stuff and
Okay.
like, going through all the flash at the front of the shop and doing that whole thing of just like, everyone's like, if you trace stuff enough, it's in your brain, you know how to draw it, move on to the next thing. And I did a few tattoos that weren't great and like everyone was really busy and like no one was really helping me. And I ended up living with, there was a guy called Dan Purcell who lived upstairs and he tattooed at this other shop called Westside. And he's like, "You can live with me so you don't have to transit. I'll get the rent. I know what it's like to be an apprentice and I'll help you with some stuff." And he like started breaking down drawing to me in a way that made so much sense. Like just being like, it's just shapes and you can draw these shapes multiple times roughly and then it builds this thing and then you can do your like final draft, like. And the more he described it, the more I was like, "Oh, this is starting to click." And then everyone left that shop one day. I came into work and everyone had a big argument with someone and the whole shop was gone. Mass exodus.
Yeah, right.
So I went back to construction and I was getting tattooed by this guy, Matt, at the time. He was doing my back and he owned Westside and I was spending lots of time at that shop. And I was like, how do I pick this up again? Like I got a taste. Got a very small taste. And then he kind of was like, we don't do apprentices here, so like good luck.
Okay.
And they'd been in a shop for like 20 years at that time and he's just like, we don't do it. Yeah, if you're looking for it, you're barking on the wrong tree.
Right.
But I'm getting tattooed by him every week and I'm living with someone who works there and I'm in there every day.
So Dan you were living with?
I was living with Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had sort of apprenticed you for a bit, or?
He was just helping me with things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not is there within the tattoo space in that way, like is apprenticing formalized or at the time?
No, it's informal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like.
This is like 2007.
Yeah.
And I'd already been hanging out in shops for like 5 years at this point.
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, damn, I mean, I wasn't his responsibility, but I think everyone was giving me enough. Like I pretty much knew everyone at that shop. I was just hanging around like a bad smell.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, you just got to try it. Like Matt might not be the guy, but you can put a lot of pressure on, but like, why don't you try these other avenues? And like, while you're trying, you should be drawing this stuff. You should be trying these things. And like, maybe you can do this. Everyone was kind of giving me a little bit, which was great because I felt like supported in like a tough love kind of way. Some of the people would say some, some not nice things in a very loving way. Just kind of giving me a kick up the arse to get it going, I guess. And yeah, at some point, I was working construction and then coming to the shop and hanging out, and I was doing that non-stop. So my days were huge. And then at some point, Matt was just like, you can work the counter on the weekends.
Okay.
So I would like knock off on site early, race to the shop, and then I started like cleaning up in the afternoons. And eventually, I was trying to balance a construction job and working in the shop, and then I quit that and I hung out a lot for a long time. I gave like 2 years to that shop with like no promise of being able to tattoo.
Yeah.
And then one day, everyone was like, just tattoo yourself in Matt's station.
Okay.
So I got in early and I set up and I tattooed myself in Matt's station, and he came in to like start the day and I'm in his spot doing a tattoo, and he just looked at it and didn't really say much, and he come back and he like, yeah, looks all right.
Okay.
Like, you could tattoo your friends. And I was like an apprentice? And he's like, no. And I was like an apprentice? He's like, absolutely not. And I just kept wearing him down, and eventually I started tattooing some friends, and he was like, yeah, you can be the apprentice.
Okay.
That's how it all started.
So it's like paying your dues, but not
Which what it always was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not in there's no written rules around it.
No.
You've got to figure it out and
and really want it.
Yeah.
Which was why everyone, it's why you didn't get paid for your apprenticeship, and you'd balance another job. And I mean, you would just give so much to a shop and you'd want to be there and you'd respect everyone in the shop because basically they're giving you a career.
Yeah.
They're teaching you to be also a competitor to them. So like, to an extent, you're their peer.
Yeah.
But you got to think about it in like another way too. Like if they teach you how to do this craft,
You could walk away at any time and take the things.
you're not, and you know, it was a respect thing. That's
Yeah.
why you'd get a big tattoo from the person who's teaching you to tattoo because like then you've got something to show their work and you can sell their work. There's always crossover kind of things, but it was always just like being there and knowing everything about the local tattoo community, who was who's doing what, like, and then you just do your homework on everything and you just rep your shop.
Did you start on fruit?
No, I just tattooed my thighs and
Yeah.
I tried the pigskin thing. It was disgusting, especially being vegan at the time.
Yeah.
Still being vegan now, but I was like, it's that was not it, and it was just different. But that's why we all have horrible tattoos on our legs from tattooing each other's legs and trying to learn and whatever else, and that's why I have 2 black legs now. 'Cause of all the trash that was there.
Is that black legs almost like a badge of honor sort of thing in the?
I guess to an extent.
Like a lot of people that have come up have that.
Yeah, well, they're just wearing jeans all the time, right?
Yeah.
I just got to like mid-30s and I was like, oh my God, there's some embarrassing things here.
Okay.
Just got to go.
Yeah. Do you have a tattoo? How did you move from Flash to your own designs?
I mean, I feel like I was always just really trying to stick with the Flash thing. But when I was learning the tattoo, it was like you got to learn everything so you can always, it's good to have an expansive folio, right?
Yeah.
Like, do whatever comes through the door and be able to do it well. But I mean, I was just so in love with like that kind of like tradition of like people come in and pick something off a wall. So I didn't ever want it to go too far away from that. Like I love that style, but I think I was just like, trying to figure out how you can tweak it enough where it's your own thing, and that's just from practice and just from painting all the time. And and then hopefully people just want the things that you've painted.
Yeah.
But at some point you're just trying to draw people's hopes and dreams.
How did that turn into
into like a painting practice?
Yeah, into an arts practice.
So like some point from tattooing, like I've always had like bad mental health and I got really depressed, and I think as that was happening, one of Matt's really good friends was in the shop. Actually saw him the other day. It's this guy, Josh Rolling. He used to have a shop in Sydney. And he's moved up to Lennox and he has a shop up there. But he's just like a really gentle and sweet man. And he would always share and help me with tattooing. Like anytime I'd ask a question, he would answer.
To have time for you.
Yeah, and he was talking to me about like meditation paintings. As like a, I feel like he could see that I was like struggling with a bunch of stuff, and he's like, here's some stuff I've been painting. It's not tattoo related. Doesn't have a start or an end. There's no one needs to see it. It's not for anything. It's just like put pen to paper, brush to paper, whatever you need to do, just so you can tune out and just like meditate on it. So I just started like doing these paintings. Like I stopped tattooing for a little bit because mental health got really bad.
Was the mental health did it stop you from tattooing, or was it I need to stop tattooing to work on this? Sorry.
I would have been a very miserable person in the shop at that time. Sure. And it's like, and tattooing's like it's an energy exchange, right? Yeah. Yeah. Like, man, I'd hate to get tattooed by someone who's like just so depressed, For sure. And it got to a really bad place, and like I was probably just like, I was just struggling. Yeah. So I was just like, I can't do this. And Matt was like, your job's here whenever you want it, but you should like really take some time. Depression's a pretty crippling thing when it takes over.
How did the sort of meditative painting process help?
Well, there's just like a way to like not think about it for a second, Even when I wasn't thinking about it, I'd still like, I'd still just like dip into these areas and just not feel great. Like something would come up. You know, I was like fucking crying all day and like I didn't know what was happening. So I started tattooing, and you know, luckily I had like $1,000 of savings or something at the time. And I was like, I'm going to spend all of that on therapy, which was a fucking godsend. And I was like, the only other things I can think of that are going to like keep my brain busy is like surfing and being in the water. So I was just like trying to surf every day, and I was swimming a lot. Probably not always at good times. I was swimming a lot at night at that time and like doing all this other weird shit. But
Yeah.
I was trying to swim a lot, and
In the ocean?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was swimming a lot, and I started swimming laps. And then I was like trying to do these paintings because I was like, I just need to, if I can do something, it'll keep me busy for half an hour or an hour. But it ended up keeping me busy for quite a while. But I was just like, I just bought really shitty paint that I could afford and some like butcher's paper.
Okay.
And I was just painting these like shapes, and I was just so obsessed with like texture. So I just like really just focus in on like, how do I make these textures? And these paintings just slowly started evolving.
What was it about texture?
I don't know. I was just like hyper fixated on like brush strokes and texture at the moment. I was just like, I feel like I still am, but I'm just like, I just found this thing that I was just got obsessed with, and anytime I'd do it, it just like, I'd feel calm. I wasn't crying, and I wasn't like, you know, spiraling in my room or whatever. So I was just doing that heaps, and then, you know, at some point, like I put a little bit of it on the internet, I think, at some point. Like I did a post, like, here's some stuff I've been making.
Like on social media?
Yeah, like on Instagram.
Okay.
Some of my friends that I tattooed with and like some other mob were kind of like, what are these things? I just sent them paintings.
Cool.
And then other people got to see that, and then that kind of sent me down that path.
How long ago was that?
I think I moved to Sydney like 6 years ago, so it's probably like 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. What were the similarities between painting and surfing and being in the water?
Yeah, I think I was just trying to paint water.
Yeah.
I think that's where I ended up, because I was like, that's where you know, I spent all my youth just like surfing as much as I could, or like everything around trying to get to the surf, whatever it was. It was all like that kind of came back to it. I think that's that's probably a big reason that I'm sober, is like, didn't want to miss out on surfing.
Yeah.
You know, I saw all the other, especially living on the Gold Coast, I saw the other side of sobriety quite a lot. I'd ride my bike to go, because I would surf, there's a little island called South Australia. Well, it's not little, but there's an island, South Australia, I would ride up and then paddle across the seaway and surf there.
Cool. So you'd be out on the other side of the island?
Yeah, you'd like paddle across the seaway and then paddle out on the other.
Cool.
So that's really good there.
How far out is that from the lake mainland?
I mean, I think it's like a 400 meter paddle or something, 500 meter. It's where all the trawlers come through.
Cool.
But I would paddle that like early morning.
Yeah.
Like
There's
before school.
Sharks in there and stuff.
Oh
too.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. But I would ride through surfers to get, because my house was, you know, like in Southport, so I'd have to cross all these bridges, and I would ride through like the nightclub areas and stuff.
Okay.
And I would just see the craziness.
Yeah. And you were like 15 or younger?
That would have been like 14, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd get up at like 3:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Mum would be like, where the fuck are you going? I'm like, going surfing. And I just would do it like every day. And I think that thing kind of was like, but yeah, I just fully steered away from your question. It all comes back to surfing and water, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because now I feel like I do that way less at the moment.
Surfing?
Yeah, and I think maybe that's probably why like I feel a bit unsettled or something here lately.
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
And you never drank, really?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe like a handful of times when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think it's for black fellas. I don't think that's just fucking poison.
Yeah.
And I've seen the effects of it for everyone. And then same with drug use. And
was it something you saw in your family?
Yeah, sort of my family, and just like, you know, lived in a house with mum's ex-partner who wasn't great, and that was a lot of like substance abuse and you know, there's DV and stuff related to that, and just watching people like spiral out of control and be violent to people that they're meant to love, you know. And I was like, I feel like that might be the cause of it, so I just don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you go from painting for yourself,
Yep.
giving paintings to friends, to working with
Like
with
with
a
the
team
gallery?
in a
Yeah.
gallery, taking it from there to selling?
Yeah.
Take me through the story of that.
That was just like, giving these paintings away. And then I didn't know much about art. Like, I didn't really think I was an artist or whatever. Even that took a long time to like be like, yeah, I'm an artist. That I still remember like having those conversations when I first started at the gallery, and I'm like, I just make stuff. And I still probably say that quite a lot, but it's like at some point you kind of got to own it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I gifted these paintings to people, and they had shown them to Ed and Nina, who own Channel Heights. So I left the coast. I ended up, I stopped tattooing. I'm doing these paintings. I'm going to therapy. I'm trying really hard. And then I moved down and stayed with Otis and the kids. And he kind of like introed me to Ed and Nina. I'd met them through him before, and same with like there's another artist that I look after, and really great tattooer, and this guy Spider. So Spider had also kind of like been like, there's this guy who's making this stuff, like you should just meet him. So I come to Sydney because everyone was like, go and meet Ed and Nina, like meet them properly. And I went to Sydney and
did you like did you have any clue that they were like,
No.
they might be
absolutely
an
not.
ally that can help you grow your
No.
kind of career?
I just knew of like, I knew of Ed because like I'm like, I know that we're into a lot of the same stuff,
Yeah.
like same kind of backgrounds, I guess, like, the music thing and everything else, very similar.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, cool, like they're good people. So I met them and I was like, hey, it's great people. And they're like, oh, you should stay here and use the studio and work on those paintings that you've been sending around. So I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know why I would do that, but sure. So I like did that and ended up living with them for like a month or so. And I was just painting every day, and I just made like probably like 100 works on paper. And the painting started evolving. And then they were just like, oh, there's this job opportunity for this thing. Like, do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, whatever. They paid me some money for it. And I was like, whoa, that was crazy. Just got paid for a painting. That's insane. And they're like, there's a space in the gallery for a show if you want to like, you made this much work in like a month. If we gave you like 2 months, like are you stressed out? Does it make you feel anxious? Like they were like really checking in before they kind of like pushed it on me.
Yeah. Sort of like coaching you through the process, but like
Yeah.
without telling you that it's a process.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
like, how do you feel about it? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to make them anyway.
Yeah.
They're
Cool.
like, you should make it on canvas. And I was like, that seems insane. That means that they're real paintings. They're not
Yeah.
on paper. And I made a bunch of paintings for this show, and we had a show and it did really well. And they were kind of like, they've got like a list on their website. It was like associated artists and like represented. And I saw my name go to represented, and I was like, what's that about? And they're like, oh, you should just live in Sydney and like work on this thing. Like there's clearly something there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I guess. But I was like really fighting against it.
In what way?
I think I just still in my brain. I'm like, I can barely draw.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a painter. I'm not an artist. That seems insane.
Was there a like, I don't belong here? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, art always feels like, like even like going to galleries and stuff. It's like, that's not for me. I'm not welcome
It's a
here.
mysterious world kind of thing.
Mysterious world, but like not like it's I just doesn't feel like it's for everyone,
Yeah.
It's like why you get dressed up to go to a gallery, like I always kind of think about that. I'm like, why can't you just go on your normal? I get a bit older and I'm around it all the time, and I'm like, oh, you just fucking, especially like say like public institutions, it's for people. But
Yeah.
even now I'm like, tell my sister, I'm like, hey, you want to come to this thing? She's like, oh, I can't. I'm like, I'm not dressed up enough to go there. I'm like, it's just a gallery. We can just walk in. This is literally a
T-shirt
public
and
gallery.
shorts, it's cool.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
can look. This art is funded from your tax money, and like it's for you to look at.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There was always something around art where I'm just like, oh, it's inaccessible to people like me.
Yeah.
I didn't, I just finished high school. And, I don't have higher education. I don't know everything about art.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. And I'm like, oh, I don't know everything, so I'm not entitled to look at it.
What is the biggest thing you've learnt about art since kind of embodying
the biggest thing?
Yeah, what's the I can imagine there's been these epiphanies or nuggets of going whoa, what the heck?
Yeah, I think everyone's in the same kind of situation. I think no one has all the answers. No one even knows what they're doing 100%. It's just making it. And I feel there's so many. It's so multifaceted, that question, because it could be a million answers. But it's I think the biggest thing is it's just like every other kind of trade and every other thing you learn. It's you just have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And just believe in it and actually commit to it.
Do you see it as a trade or as something else?
I think my painting practice is something else.
Yeah.
Tattooing was definitely a trade. I always looked at it as you're the same as a plumber.
Yeah.
Or
you pick up your trade belt and go into work.
Yeah, and you're making someone gives you this image and you're going to make it to your best of your ability, and you try and do a really good job for them and make them have a good time, and that's a trade. But
yeah,
I think painting's different because it's I could paint a bunch of stuff and no one will ever see it, and it just lives in my studio.
Yeah,
there's piles of stuff there that I guess it's learning that it's an expression and then trying to figure out what you're actually trying to express.
Do you feel free to experiment within your practice?
Yeah.
Or do you know that there's a style now that is yours?
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Describe your style. Sorry.
But
you have to.
I'm trying to think what I've been calling it lately. It's usually a contemporary, I guess, indigenous abstract landscape. Yeah, topographical kind of. Yeah, but I think it's moving. It's a lot of building a lot of texture and just trying to replicate things from environment and country.
Yeah.
But in terms of experimenting and trying to work out what's next, I'm trying to always learn and trying to figure out what other things I can use to make, and a lot of that doesn't work, and it just sits in my studio, which is fine, but it's good for me, so that's I guess that's the bottom line.
With your art making and having a market for it, is there a worry ever that you have to sort of deliver within the style that you've kind of built that's yours?
I think at the start I was kind of thinking about that after 2 shows, and I'm is this getting old too? Is this boring? But I'm I think it's just the same thing. I just revert back to what feels good for me to make, and then kind of go from there. Because I feel I've painted other things and maybe it wasn't similar style, but there's always someone that's that's the one, that was the one.
Yeah.
And that's what they wanted. I'm okay, cool. Guess it doesn't really matter because I'm still making it and it's authentic to me. So
yeah, talk to me about medium, surface, and sort of your journey through from
painting
from cheap paints stuff, and cheap paint and butcher's paper through to
which I
canvas.
still love.
Yeah.
I still have folders of that I paint on. It's a really good way to just jot things down and not you want to have a really nice piece of paper and then you're oh fuck, can't mess this up.
I have a $70 piece of paper and I'm what
am I going to do?
I haven't touched it in 2 years.
Yeah.
It's I can't. Why did I do that?
The less you care about the material, I guess the less you care.
Yeah.
It's probably a bad way to explain it. The less valuable it is. the
Yeah.
more expressive you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I still use a lot of that kind of stuff for like preliminary. I've started drawing in like little notebooks and stuff again,
Okay.
just like horrible little things, but just to keep practicing. But I think materiality now, I've kind of like, I went from like, $2 tubes of acrylic to like house paints, and then to like nice acrylics, and then went from like paper and ink to like nice paper, and then to like canvas, and then linens, and
Silk.
there's some silks for when I'm doing like the natural dyeing stuff, which
Yeah.
has been a whole other thing, which is incredibly fun, and I get to learn a lot of knowledge from a lot of different people
Yeah.
that are like kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like I got this practice, and then it's taken me to other people in other places, and people have shared like story, but also like
Tell me about that, as much as you can.
about like learning how to like dye naturally.
Yeah.
I did like this Indigenous art camp for the Gold Coast Council, and there was a fella in that called Norton, and we're all like introducing ourselves in our practice, and Norton's like, I do natural dyeing, and I was like, that's all I've been trying to work out. I'm just going to lock in.
What is that? Tell me more.
Yeah, we're locking in. Thankfully, he loves sharing and teaching. So he just gave me all these options to start. And then I think from that, like, I went up to the territory and I met other people up there, and recently went back again to like, I dyed like 100 meters of textile for this Hermes thing that I did, which was kind of unbelievable. But yeah, they like facilitated me going back up to dye things properly.
Yeah.
And I worked with some artists from like Papanyati, and they showed me different trees because I knew these ones, but they had these ones. And
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like everyone's just like pretty forthcoming with it, but it's like,
Yeah. Was that I'm thinking about like cultural protocols and stuff, and was there am I allowed this? Was there a kind of
it's the
a
same if
navigation of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as if I'm painting though. Like if I'm painting with ochre, I only collect from home,
Yeah.
and like places where people I don't know are like, it's cool, you can like,
Yeah. And people showing people don't share things with you unless they are happy for you to know it.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's vetted, right, in some way.
Yeah.
Like you get introduced through someone, and like they're like, oh, I trust you enough that I would. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know everything cultural, and I'm not ever going to pretend that I do. So all I do is just ask questions, and people can say yes or no.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it lands.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they feel happy to share things with me, great. And then I always ask if I'm allowed to practice this without them.
Yep.
And if they say no, I'm like, great, I know it.
Thank
It's
you
in my
for
brain.
sharing.
Thank you for sharing. That's
Yeah.
my time. I don't get to do it again.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Yeah. Is there a sense of longing to learn this stuff? for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I think, like Papa grew up in, he grew up, and then as he's growing up, they're like, doing what they're doing through the
Yeah.
50s. And
Yeah.
he ended up leaving Lionsville, and he's disconnected with his family, ended up being with his dad a lot, whole thing. Gets a bit older, and he's like, he's still in that region, so he's always trying to like figure it out, but he's lost contact with like, he had a lot of brothers and sisters and his uncles, and I've got dribs and drabs of like, of what, with like gravestones and all these kind of things. And he gets a bit older and he gets sick, and all he wanted to do was like reconnect, and he couldn't figure out how to do it. And then he passed away. So then I feel like that was kind of, that's kind of sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know all of this stuff that he like clearly wanted to show me, but he was ill at the time.
Sorry, bro.
I mean, that's kind of what happens. But then, I mean, same deal, like through painting, I meet all these people, and they're like, oh, this is this, and I'm from here, and I'm like, oh,
That was where.
that's where my grandfather's from. Oh,
Yeah.
you should meet this person. And then I just like in the last even in the last 2 years, I met someone not long ago. Like I met Mia Madden at the gallery, and she's like, I was like, oh, feels like we're related. Are we related? She's like, yeah, I think so. Where are you from? We're like, from here. And then she circled back like not long later, and she's like, what have you got? Like, where are you at?
Yeah.
And I gave it to her, and then she's like, 2 days later, she's like, this is literally the rest of your tree. I found like I could build off of all these little photographs you had, and
wow,
like you're tied into where my family's from.
That's crazy.
Here's all these things, and it's just like, yeah, it's just like now I've got that next little step, and now I get to meet more people, and then I get to learn a bit more cultural things, and like, and even just like who's related to who and stuff is like so nice to be like, you're like my cousin second removed, or like,
just the
now
knowing.
I feel like I got,
yeah,
it's I don't think there's any better feeling than like putting that all together and being like, I always think of like mob stuff as like this, like we have this little club that no one else can be a part of, which is amazing. Is that we're all connected somehow?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It's beautiful.
It really is. Has your like mum sort of joined you on that?
Yeah, mum's scared of talking to everyone.
Yeah,
that's anxiety for when it's large groups of people. But I think like.
Has that been a like
mum was born in 1967, so year of referendum. So like a lot of big changes, but obviously like, I mean, even growing up, like I was told like, don't tick the box, and like maybe don't say Aboriginal, and like I would just tell everyone I was Italian. Like, I think most of us were like, you're European, because it's just like no questions then, and no one cares. Like, but if you say, I remember being in high school and I was like,
is there a like at that? Sorry to interrupt. Is there
that's
like
all right.
a power in anonymity at sometimes?
I think so, but it's just like it wasn't a thing to be shared because there was so much. I wouldn't even say that there was no shame there, but it was just more like you don't know what's going to happen because it's like a distrust of powers to be. Like you don't trust the government, you don't trust the school. Like, I feel like that was so ingrained in everyone. Even like, I think about my mum and I'm like, there's probably so much that she wouldn't even know that she did subconsciously without even thinking about it.
And passed.
And it's just passed on to me.
Passed on because you don't, you don't know what you're taught sometimes.
Yeah. And it's just like, that would come from her father who's, he's had a traumatic upbringing and like hiding from... He left where he was from, and like there was a forest not far from there, like Melancholy Forest. If anyone is from there, please reach out to me. But he like went and stayed with mob there to like flee from where he's from, so like he wouldn't get taken away, like kind of thing. So there's like so much stuff like that where you think about like that's clearly going to be passed down to my mum and my uncles. So then it's like, how does that? And then it's going to be passed down to me. And then I have to be the one that kind of figures it out.
Yeah, and is there what is the feeling of bringing, like you learning that stuff and then bringing it back to your parent?
Yeah, amazing.
Whereas like...
That's like, it should be the other way around.
It feels like it should be the other way around, but it's the...
But I just want, like mum's very outwardly proud now, like for sure. Like I feel like it was always there, but I don't think she knew how to express it. And the more people she meets, the more she's like, oh, this is like...
I'm allowed to express this.
I think that's, like, I can't speak for her, but...
Yeah.
Like, I've definitely watched it, like, in the last 10 years, just be, like, strength to strength.
Cool.
Which is amazing. And, my uncles are kind of like... Anytime I'm like, hey, I found this thing, or, like, I found another relative, or, like, I found like another cousin that was directly related to us the other day, and I'm like, he lives up the road. You can go and like, there's so much stuff, and they get excited about it, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, and it's just crazy that all of this literally stems from painting. Like, I wouldn't have made these connects otherwise.
Going back to painting, talk to me about like traveling with your work.
Yeah.
And taking your paintings outside of the local context here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think about where it started in a garage on butcher's paper, and then I'm like working with like big fashion houses and stuff, like and just even them being interested in something that I'm making, which
how did those projects or like collaborations come about?
Just from like them coming through the gallery and having conversations, and like Ed and Nina maybe starting a conversation, and then meeting the people that are in those kind of more influential positions in those companies, and then it's just crazy because it's just like this whole other platform that my work gets to be in and gets to be spoken about to a whole demographic of people that I would never have reached otherwise. Yeah. And just how much like a lot of those like, say with like Hermes and stuff, like they just like really invest and really love the fact of like you making something authentically, and it doesn't matter how much time it takes or like however you get there, but they're just like along for the ride, and they were really supportive on the things I was doing.
How involved were they in
for the window
shaping what the window would be?
You got any ideas? I was like, yeah, I've got heaps of ideas.
Yeah.
Do you want to show us some things? Let's go to Paris and talk about it.
To Paris?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I'm like, here's my reference points, and then like
what were your reference points?
So many of the like rocks around here, and like how the rocks run into the water, and like where the rivers connect to the ocean, and so I had all these I have all these photographs I literally just print them out and put it in a diary. Mm-hmm. Not the best with computer stuff, so I'm just like, here's my like reference diary, there's little sketches and stuff, and I was like, I think it should be like this, and then I go to Paris with them and I show all these, and they're like, I don't even understand this landscape that I'm looking at. They're just like, but it sounds great. Do your thing. So, I go away and I think about it more, I come up with a plan. They facilitate me doing those things, and then people from Paris come out to...
Who facilitates you?
Like the team from Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's that process?
Like how much money will it take for you to go here?
You don't need to talk about money.
But what that's, you know what I mean? They're like, how much, like how long do you need, and how are you going to do it?
Okay. Cool.
And I was like, I think I'll do it this way.
Yeah.
But I want to do it in a really slow and real way, instead of like, I think this needs to be really authentic to the landscape and to this country, and like, I was like, if I get this opportunity to show it to a demographic that might not otherwise see my work, let alone like, any other kind of Aboriginal artwork, I'm just going to do it the right way. And they were just like, yeah, we'd love for you to just do it the way that you think's right, and we'll help you along with anything that we need to, and go and do it.
And how long did you take?
A while.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It took as long as it took?
It took as long as it took. I chipped away at it for a while.
Yeah. And were you making that stuff in the studio?
Yeah, I did go to Territory to dye it all, because there's a really beautiful colour that I knew I could make up there.
Okay.
So that's when I went and worked with Arnie's from Peppermiati.
From a specific tree?
Yeah, and they like, I knew a specific tree, but they were like, this is the other one.
Okay.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. I got some great videos of like just walking through the bush and like digging up roots, and I just had the best time. Literally had the best time. And then so I did that for like a week, and then brought all of that back and slowly chipped away at it. That took a while. There's 120 meters of textile that I made for that store.
Yeah. What was the install process like? Were you in the window in the store doing that install yourself?
Yeah, like they had a team.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the main window parts was like, me and Ed were in the window, and Eric and a few other people from Hermes were on loudspeaker on the outside of the window, like, just, you should shuffle that a little bit just so it looks right.
Yeah.
But it was great.
From a like design perspective?
Yeah, because I'm like, it's constraints too. Like, I've got a box.
Yeah.
That I'm trying to like figure out how everything sits in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But lots of fun. Like, any of those jobs seem to be, any job where anyone just is like, we trust you to make something pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So I will take those opportunities any chance I can get.
Yeah.
And I just feel so lucky that it was like with someone like that.
Was that similar with the opposite of Rust?
Yeah,
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 yeah, and the music side of that, like
all of that, same deal.
yeah.
Yeah, Nike was just like, what do you want to do? Like we're releasing this shoe, giving everyone an opportunity to do something.
Yeah,
And I pitched this thing and they're like, we don't understand that at all, but
go for it.
just go for it. And then I spoke to like people from Nike like the night of, and they were like, we had no idea how this was going to go. But
That
we
was
just trusted you enough
the night
to do
of the
it.
music piece.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that was taking like some of your hardcore songs and
Yeah, I kind of was like trying to chip everyone in at that point in time because I was like, I get an opportunity to make something, and it's like mostly limitless.
I got an open door. Let's all walk
And I was
through
like,
it.
so how do I work with all of my friends that
Yeah.
have like continually inspired me over like the last decade? So I was like, all right, everyone I've played music with, we can improv a song. You guys can loosely figure something out, and this is the key.
Yeah.
I'll see you on the night. That was it. That was where I left it for that. But, I got to make music with my housemate, and I got to film some stuff with one of my friends who's an incredible director to be, projected. And, I lent on a lot of people to get a space big enough to make that painting for the textile because that was 30 by 6 meters. So, like, I had to, pull some favors to paint this thing. And, yeah, I literally just got everyone I knew to, like, try and come together and make this project as good as it could be.
Cool.
Yeah. And they were just like, yeah, hands off. Like, we trust you. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there? I already know the answer, but like I can imagine this is all stuff you could never have seen yourself doing.
No way. No way.
How do you process that?
I mean, I just always look at it as like, I used to say no to a lot of things and, be really closed off to everything. But now I'm just like, the way to process it is just like say yes to things because you don't know when this, like, it might stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not because I'm making bad work or whatever else, but, someone else coming up doing something, which is great. Everyone should have their time. But I'm just like, I just may as well just grab it while it's there and say yes to more things. And, yeah, I think processing it is just like, just knowing that it might be fleeting and just really grabbing onto it and going for it.
Yeah.
Like, take some chances, make some stuff, make some mistakes. Hopefully not many.
Yeah.
And just, just know that I should be feeling very lucky and, I feel like I work really hard for it, but I feel like it's, yeah.
Like, what do you do to relax now? And like surfing and like, are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, last few months has just been weird. I mean, so many shark attacks too right now. So
Okay.
it's kind of terrifying. Yeah, I'm just like, I'd really try and get in the water, but it's just like it hasn't been happening, which is, there's like other things that are, there's other things that are happening at that time. So
Life.
I know,
stuff.
yeah, life. It's
Yeah.
just life.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually it's just like playing some music and, waking up and playing a nice record and going for a swim is like pretty much that's it. That's the perfect way to.
What's your choice for record to get up and play?
I don't know. There's some.
Different every day, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And the same, I think it's the same as everything. I get hyperfixated on something for like a week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw, I make a playlist every time I make a body of work. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're all over the shop.
Yeah.
Because if I've got like 3 months of painting,
And what's the process for choosing what's on that playlist?
something will pop in my brain and I'm like, oh, that's right.
Let's add that.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like on that, like I just listen to that record and repeat for a few days.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, I'll take a song off that and put it on a playlist.
Okay.
Just so I remember where I was at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to get really good at like archiving like moments and things because I feel like I didn't have that growing up.
Tell
So
me-
now I'm like, I take a lot of photographs, make sure I've like, I've got my Dropboxes super organized now, collecting all that footage that I'm always taking photos, always filming stuff. And I'm like, okay, I need to like make sure it's in the right year and right month and like what camera I shot it on. Everything needs to be
The
accessible.
metadata.
Yeah, but it just needs to be accessible because I'm like, I mean,
You might want to grab that out to show someone at some
Yeah,
point.
and to like reference it
Yeah.
for other work and also just like photos of people and,
Yeah.
people pass, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of, a lot of my friends that have passed that I don't have photos of.
Talk to me more about archiving.
I think the biggest one with like photo stuff was like when my grandfather passed, and it's like, I feel like we're all scrambling to like have enough nice photographs, and just like how much that wasn't a part of like my family. There's like not much.
Yeah.
Especially in comparison to when I look at my other friends and like they're like, here's like a timeline of my growing up. Here's me like, from 18 months to 5 years old. There's like 1,000 photographs with every relative you could ever imagine. I was like, I just don't have that. So like, I think like Dad gave me a camera once when I went on tour, and I was just like,
What was your first camera?
it was like a Nikon like DSLR.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I still got. It's just beaten to hell.
Yeah.
Went around the world quite a few times, but other than that, it was just like little point and shoot things. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, just like taking photographs, making sure they're in the right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then now even painting, I'm like, it's so hard to, like I look at people who've got like process shots and stuff, and I'm like, how do you stop the flow?
Yeah.
Take these photographs, make sure you've got it. Like it's like so incredibly hard. And then even like making the painting and like shooting it properly before you like sell it or give it away, or like you're doing your trades, or even before you roll out and put it in the back and you forget about it. Like it's I'm trying really hard to like have all of that stuff, especially in the last 12 months. I was like, I really need to like archive these times and these things that I've made. It's important.
Yeah.
Because it disappears.
Yeah. Is it something you think you'll like draw on later, or like give to people? Like what is...
I don't know what it'll be for.
You don't know the purpose yet, but you know it's important?
I know it's important. Yeah. I like so many things that I like like books from like, there's this music scene at this time and here's some photograph. You know what I mean? Like that's just crazy.
Yeah.
And there's so much of where I grew up that didn't happen, and now I'm in the opposite, where I'm like, I shoot a lot of music. But I don't give the photos to anyone, but I have it all.
Cool.
But I was like, is that just for Instagram? I don't think it is. I think there's a bigger purpose there somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know when or what, but it's there. And there's
my dad, I've been digitizing his negative collection of
amazing
early mid 70s Sydney punk shows.
Insane. I want to see that.
Yeah.
That's a book.
Yeah. Yes. At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so important.
Yeah.
Because imagine how many of those people have disappeared.
100%. And like it's like Sunny Boys and a lot of those guys where they... And Radio Birdman, where they've like started doing shows again a few years ago, and there's this like interest of the stuff. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's been a wild kind of couple of months of doing that.
It'd be such a trip.
And we I'm like, I just want to yarn,
Yeah.
I have to ask my mum and dad talk divorced since I was like 5, but was like sometimes there's conversations I have to have with my mom on behalf of my dad.
Yeah.
Because it's like through the divorce, she kept a lot of his negatives and stuff. And I was like, he wants to do this thing. You've got the negatives in storage. Can we grab them to digitize them? Happy to give them back at the end or whatever.
Yeah.
We can negotiate that later. So she's like, here's the first box I've found. Which is like a box this size of negatives, and
so you're busy for a while then.
Yeah.
And my friend RJ, he took his life it would have been last year, but he left me all of his negatives from Sydney. He's from Korea.
Yeah.
He left me a box of like everything. He's like, can you please make me a book? So that's kind of like what I'm about to start working on at the moment. But it's like same deal. It's like that's a chunk of time of Sydney.
Yeah.
That through his eyes, but like that's important. It's like it's an archive of friendship and things that he was going through, and things that he was seeing, and I was like, like, so now even in retrospect, like looking at something that he's left me from such a short amount of time, like that's just like an important thing to not just like me, but to everyone around him. So there's like a huge importance of archiving, I think.
Yeah. And have you started that?
I got some of the roles he left me developed.
Yeah.
And I've started coming up with the plan of how to put it together, because I think it's bigger than just me.
Yeah.
Even though he left it to me and said, make this thing, I think this is definitely like a group effort. Yeah, there's a plan.
Do you have a organizing principle for the curation of what will be in and what won't be?
It's really hard to edit down someone else's work.
Yeah, to know
what's important.
Yeah.
And also like what that would mean to all of those people that were in it. Like there could be a photo of you like half in a frame, but I don't know what your relationship is with him. So I don't know if this is an important moment. Like he might have had this crazy talk straight after. So I'm like, I can't cut that photo out. So right now it's just kind of like, I'm going to have to start digging through and being like, what's like doubles of things, and then just like slowly start piecing it out. And that's when I'll start working with other people too, to be like, how do we make this seamless and like have some room to breathe, but also like I just want to show everything that he did.
With applying that sort of idea to your painting work and like how you organize, how you decide what's important to be in a show, how does that work?
Just a feeling.
Is that a you process, or is that something that
me, Ed and Nina for sure?
Ed and Nina,
yeah. If I'm showing
on?
at China Heights for sure. Even if I'm not showing at China Heights, I like bounce everything off Ed and Nina.
Yeah.
Ed's like, Ed knows.
Have they become like collaborators in your process?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's Ed's really good with materials and just ideas, and he knows how I paint, and he can be like, I know you could do this thing a little bit better, or like, have you thought about doing it in these ways, or which is nice. I think that I was talking to my friend about it yesterday, but I think like those days of like critique are like gone, which is kind of weird for people's practices.
Tell me more.
Everyone just wants to hear what they're doing is great instead of like how they could improve.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think critique ever comes from a place of like malice, or like, no one's ever saying anything in a negative way. They want you to see things in a different perspective so you can make better work.
Yeah.
I think I really got into being more open about that stuff from tattooing, because I think when I was first learning to make stuff, you'd always hide it. I'm sure like everyone, you draw something and you're like, I don't want anyone to see why I'm drawing it.
Yeah.
When you're making a tattoo, you can't fucking hide it because it's on someone. And also you have to be so confident in what you've drawn that's going to be on someone for the rest of their life. So you learn to show everyone else at the shop, and everyone would have an opinion, a critique. So you just kind of learn, and you'd be halfway through a tattoo and someone will be like, let's you could do it this way, or you could finish it these ways, or you'd finish it and walk out the door and someone would be like, you could have done this. So I think I really love that part. But I think those days are like, now everyone's just like, post a photo on the internet and they're like, yeah, it's great. Everyone's like, yeah, it's great. I'm like, give me the good part where it's like, that bit there, kind of shit.
Is when you're like working with Ed in that way, is there a like, yes, I'm grateful for this critique, but also
sometimes I disagree and I'm like, no, sometimes I'm just like, no, that was the good part. You'd be like, no, that's not that great.
Cool. Right.
In a loving way.
Yeah,
he's never like strongly like, that was a bad painting.
Yeah.
He would just be like, that little bit there was really good. That bit there, you should have like kind of adopted that and that. But I see him do that with everyone that he works with, which is amazing. If they want it. I guess some people are just so close to it.
Yeah.
But I think that's how you grow as an artist, and it's working with other people, hanging out with other people that are making work, and then having conversations about the work. And I feel like I've been lucky to do all those things.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the channel. Staunch is a podcast from Awesome Black. hosted by Travis De Vries and produced by Tristan Field, with production coordination by Jack Hickey, audio and video editing by Ripple Narratives. Episodes of Staunch are recorded with our partners DM Podcasts and MIK Studios on Gadigal Country and at the Awesome Black Studio on Wanneroo Lands.